Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift? Maybe people stop making eye contact, their smiles fade, or worse, they seem relieved when you leave. It's easy to brush it off, to think, oh, they're just in a bad mood. But what if the problem isn't them? What if it's you? Sounds harsh, right? But let's be real. There are certain habits that instantly make people lose respect for you. They won't say it to your face, but the way they act around you speaks volumes. And here's the kicker. You might not even realize you're doing these things. I'm not here to sugarcoat the truth. This is going to be raw, uncomfortable, and maybe even a little painful. But if you can handle it, if you can truly listen, you'll walk away knowing exactly what's holding you back. Because the truth is, people judge. They always have. They always will. The real question is, are you giving them a reason to? I've been guilty of some of these habits myself. And trust me, life changes when you start seeing yourself the way others do. If you're tired of being dismissed, overlooked, or not taken seriously, this is your wake-up call. No excuses, no lies. Just the cold, hard truth. So, are you ready to see if you've been unknowingly destroying your own reputation? Let's dive in. 1. Loose lips sink ships. Let's be honest, who doesn't enjoy a little gossip? It starts small, just sharing a little tea, a harmless comment about someone's bad decision, a whisper about their latest relationship mess. It feels fun, almost like a social glue that keeps conversations flowing. But here's what no one tells you. Gossip doesn't make you look interesting. It makes you look untrustworthy. People might laugh, nod along, even add their own piece to the story. But deep down, they're thinking one thing. If they talk like this about others, what do they say about me when I'm not around? And that's the moment respect starts slipping away. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to think that gossiping made me relatable, like I was giving people something juicy to connect over. But then I started noticing something strange. People kept conversations with me surface level. No one wanted to open up. They'd share small talk, but nothing real. And then it hit me. Why would they trust me with their thoughts, their feelings, their struggles, when they knew I had a habit of talking about others? Gossip is like a double-edged sword. It might make you feel included for a moment, but it quietly pushes people away. And here's the real kicker. It's not just damaging to your relationships, it's toxic to you. When you spend your time analyzing, criticizing, and picking apart other people's lives, you stop focusing on your own. It's like standing in front of a dirty window, complaining about the view, instead of realizing that it's your own glass that needs cleaning. The Stoics had a simple rule. Let others talk about trivial matters while you focus on things that actually improve your life. And they were right. Gossip is a distraction, a way to avoid facing your own weaknesses by pointing out everyone else's. The more you talk about others, the less time you spend fixing your own flaws. And the worst part? It changes the way you think. When you constantly look for dirt on others, you train your mind to see the worst. In people, in situations, even in yourself. So, let's answer the question that might be in your head right now. Does that mean you can never talk about anyone? No, but there's a difference between discussing people and dissecting them. Talking about someone with curiosity, empathy, or admiration is one thing. Spreading their failures, mistakes, or secrets like wildfire? That's what makes people lose respect for you. Want to know something even more powerful than gossip? Shutting it down. The next time someone leans in and says, "Did you hear what happened?" Just say, "Nah, I'm good." Watch what happens. Some will get uncomfortable. Others will respect you more. But one thing is for sure. You'll start attracting people who value real conversations over shallow drama. And trust me, those are the people you actually want in your life. At the end of the day, Everyone has their own mess to deal with. The real power move? Stop focusing on everyone else's and start cleaning up your own. 2. Say what you mean, or stay miserable. Ever played that little game where you say, "I'm fine," but your face screams, "I hope you suffer"? Or maybe someone lets you down, and instead of telling them, you hit them with a sarcastic, "Wow, must be nice to be that busy." All while secretly hoping they feel guilty enough to read your mind and fix everything. Welcome to the toxic world of passive aggression. It's like emotional dodgeball. You throw out little jabs, hoping to score a hit, but never actually tackle the real problem. It feels clever, almost strategic, like you're in control. But the truth? You're not solving anything. You're just making yourself look bitter, difficult, and exhausting to deal with. I used to think being passive-aggressive was a genius way to avoid confrontation. Why risk an argument when I could just drop hints and make people realize they messed up? But that's the problem. No one realizes. No one magically understands your feelings. And if they do, they're probably ignoring it because no one likes mind games. Here's the real issue. Passive aggression isn't strength. It's fear. It's the fear of being direct, the fear of vulnerability, the fear of actually saying what you feel because, deep down, you don't want to deal with the response. But let's be honest. Does the silent treatment actually fix anything? Does sending a shady text make people respect you more? Or does it just make you look immature and exhausting? I had to learn this the hard way. I remember being in a fight with a friend, throwing little sarcastic jabs instead of just telling them what was wrong. Finally, they looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you can't tell me what's actually wrong, I can't help you." And that hit me like a truck. I wasn't being strong. I wasn't being clever. I was just being a coward. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." And that applies here. Want people to respect you? Say what you actually mean. Want better relationships? Stop expecting people to decode your emotions and just tell them what's up. Of course, at this point, you might be thinking, but what if I don't want to start drama? That's fair. But here's the thing. Being direct doesn't mean being rude. You can tell someone, "Hey, that hurt me," without making it an attack. You can say, "I feel left out," instead of making passive-aggressive remarks about how they're too busy for you. You can ask for what you want instead of punishing people for not magically giving it to you. And trust me, when you stop playing these emotional games, everything changes. People respect you more. Conversations become clearer. You start realizing how much energy you were wasting being bitter when you could have just fixed the problem. So next time you're tempted to send that, "I guess that's fine" text, ask yourself, do you want to keep dodging the problem, or do you actually want to solve it? Because life gets so much easier when you drop the mind games and start speaking the truth. 3. Own it or stay stuck. Ever met someone who's never at fault for anything? Their problems are always someone else's doing. Missed a deadline? The Wi-Fi was acting up. Failed a test? The teacher had it out for them. Life falling apart? The universe just doesn't want them to win. Sound familiar? Maybe you've done it too. I know I have. Blaming things outside of ourselves feels good. It's an instant relief, like a mental get-out-of-jail-free card. No guilt, no pressure, just an easy way to dodge the uncomfortable truth. But here's the hard reality. When you always shift blame, you're not fooling anyone. What people actually see is someone who can't handle their own life. And the moment they realize that, you lose their trust, their respect, and eventually, your own ability to grow. I learned this the hard way. Back in school, I was the king of excuses. Homework wasn't done? Oh, the printer broke. Late on an assignment? Too much work from my other classes. Forgot something entirely? Wait, that was due today? I thought I was being slick. But one day, a teacher pulled me aside and said something that hit me like a truck. Every time you make an excuse, you rob yourself of a chance to grow. You'll never improve if you never own up to your mistakes. That moment changed everything. Because here's the thing, excuses feel like protection, but really, they're just chains keeping you stuck. When you refuse to take responsibility, you give away your power. If everything is always someone else's fault, how are you ever supposed to fix anything? Spoiler, you won't. And maybe now you're thinking, but what if it really wasn't my fault? Fair question. Sometimes things do go wrong beyond our control. But here's the difference between people who are respected and people who aren't. Strong people take ownership anyway. Instead of focusing on the excuse, they focus on what they can do differently next time. The first time I truly took responsibility for a mistake, it was terrifying. I had missed a deadline at work. Instead of spinning some excuse, I just said, "I didn't manage my time well. I'll do better next time." I expected backlash. Instead, my boss nodded and said, "All right, make sure it doesn't happen again." That's when it clicked. People don't expect you to be perfect. They just want you to be accountable. No one likes excuses. No one respects someone who can't own up. But when you admit your mistakes and commit to fixing them, people trust you more. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the truth. The world is unpredictable. Life is unfair. But what you can control, your actions, your response, your willingness to step up instead of running from responsibility. I get it. Owning up sucks in the moment. No one likes admitting they dropped the ball. But long-term, it's a game changer. When you stop making excuses, people start believing in you more. And, more importantly, you start believing in yourself. And let's be real, life gets so much easier when you're not juggling a million excuses, trying to remember what lie you told last time. Just take the hit, learn from it, and move on. It's scary at first, but trust me, it feels so much better in the end. And weirdly enough, people might actually start respecting you for it. Wild concept, huh? 4. Cleanliness is confidence. Let's not sugarcoat it. Nothing makes people back away faster than bad hygiene. You might not smell it, you might not notice it, but trust me, everyone else does. And here's the harsh truth. People don't just judge your hygiene. They judge you. It sounds unfair, but it's reality. When you don't take care of the basics, clean clothes, fresh breath, a decent shower, people don't just think, "Oh, they forgot today." They start wondering, what else are they neglecting? Because if you can't handle something as simple as soap and water, how can you handle anything bigger? I learned this lesson the hard way. Back in middle school, I thought deodorant was optional. My logic? If I don't feel sweaty, I must be fine. Wrong. One day, a classmate kindly suggested I try a new body spray. That moment hit me like a truck. The embarrassment, the realization, the desperate rush to stock up on every hygiene product I could find. Lesson learned. But hygiene isn't just about smelling good, it's a sign of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And that applies here. If you don't think you're worth the effort, if you stop caring about the basics, it seeps into everything else. Your confidence, your motivation, your self-worth. And maybe now you're thinking, what if I just don't care what people think? Fair enough. But here's the thing. Hygiene isn't about impressing others. It's about how you feel about yourself. Ever notice how different you feel after a fresh shower? Like you could take on the world? That's not just physical, it's psychological. Cleanliness resets your mind, your mood, your energy. I've been in phases where I let myself go. Stress, burnout, depression, it all made me stop caring. Showers felt like a chore. Changing clothes felt pointless. And at first, it seemed like no big deal. But over time, it started affecting everything. My motivation dropped. My self-respect faded. And the worst part? People noticed. One day, a friend pulled me aside and said, "Hey, are you okay? You seem off lately." And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just about hygiene. It was about my mindset. Neglecting the basics was a symptom of something deeper. And the more I ignored it, the worse I felt. The good news? It works in reverse, too. Small actions, brushing your teeth, washing your face, putting on fresh clothes, can spark something bigger. It's a reminder to yourself, I'm worth the effort. And once you start treating yourself that way, everything else begins to shift. And let's be real, nothing beats that just showered feeling. That moment you step out, fresh, clean, ready to take on the day. It's an instant reset. So if you've been putting it off, if you're debating whether it's worth the effort, here's your sign. Get up, clean up, and remind yourself who you are. Trust me, you'll feel like a whole new person. 5. Complain less, win more. You ever meet someone who complains about everything? They could be sipping a cold drink on a beach and still grumble about how the sand is too sandy or the sun is too bright. Nothing is ever good enough. And if you're sitting there thinking, wait, I don't know anyone like that. Well, I hate to break it to you, but you might be that person. Don't worry, we've all been guilty of it. I definitely have. There was a time when I complained constantly, and not even about big things, just the little pointless stuff. I'd walk into work like, ugh, why is it so cold in here? Or sip my coffee and go, this tastes awful. It became second nature, like I was programmed to point out what was wrong instead of what was right. Then one day, a friend looked at me and said, "You know, you complain more than anyone I've ever met, right?" That hit me hard. I didn't even realize how negative I had become. And here's the truth. Constant complaining isn't just annoying to others. It's exhausting for you too. It drags you down. It makes your world feel smaller, darker, and worse than it actually is. There's a reason people avoid complainers. When you focus only on what's wrong, people stop seeing you as someone they want to be around. Instead, they see someone who's stuck, someone who refuses to take control. If you're always unhappy, people start thinking, maybe they're the problem, not their situation. And once that happens, you lose respect. But let's go deeper. Why do we complain in the first place? Most of the time, it's not really about bad coffee or slow Wi-Fi. Complaining is often just a mask for something bigger. Stress, frustration, feeling powerless. It all comes out in the form of negativity. And I get it. Complaining feels like an outlet, like you're venting, letting out frustration. But here's the catch. It doesn't actually fix anything. If anything, it makes things worse. The more you complain, the more problems you see. And the more problems you see, the more stuck you feel. I had to break that cycle. So I started doing something simple but powerful. Every time I wanted to complain, I stopped and asked myself, okay, what can I do about this? If I could fix it, I'd do something instead of whining about it. And if I couldn't fix it, I'd let it go. No use wasting energy on things I had no control over. Was it easy? Nope. But over time, I noticed a huge shift, not just in how people reacted to me, but in how I felt about myself. Life didn't feel like this endless stream of problems anymore. I started focusing on solutions instead of just repeating what was wrong. And the best part? I started noticing the good things around me instead of automatically looking for flaws. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's exactly what complaining takes away from you. Your power. Life will always throw problems at you. Things will always go wrong. But if you focus only on the negatives, you block out all the things that are actually going right. And you miss out on gratitude, which is the real antidote to complaining. And let's be real, no one likes a constant complainer. People want to be around those who lift them up, not drag them down. So if you catch yourself griping about the weather, the Wi-Fi, or whatever minor inconvenience pops up, take a step back and ask yourself, am I actually trying to fix this? Or am I just in the habit of whining? Because here's the truth, complaining might feel like the easy route, but finding the good in a bad situation? That's the real power move. 6. Late once, forgiven. Late, always forgotten. There's always that one person, the one who's just 5 minutes away, but somehow turns up 20 minutes late. The one who sends an "I'm on my way" text while still sitting on their couch in pajamas. And if you don't know anyone like that, well, you might be that person. I know, because I used to be. I thought of it as my little rebellion against the clock, a way of saying, time doesn't control me. I control time. But let's be honest, it wasn't stylish, it wasn't cool, it was just inconsiderate. And people noticed. One day, my best friend hit me with the truth. Being late isn't just about showing up late, it's about showing me that you don't value my time. Ouch. That one hit hard. I had never thought about it like that. I was so caught up in my own mess, thinking, it's not a big deal. People can wait, that I didn't realize what I was really saying to them. Your time doesn't matter as much as mine. And here's the brutal truth. Chronic lateness isn't just a harmless quirk. It's a red flag. It makes people see you as unreliable, disorganized, and let's be real, a little selfish. Whether it's a job interview, a date, or just a casual meetup with friends. When you're always late, you're silently telling people, I don't respect your schedule. Now, maybe you're thinking, but I don't mean to be disrespectful, I just have a terrible sense of time. Fair enough. But lateness isn't just about poor time management. It often runs deeper. Sometimes it's a sign of procrastination, avoidance, or even fear. I had to face that truth myself. I wasn't just bad at managing my schedule. I was late to things I didn't want to deal with. A stressful meeting? I'd show up late and blame traffic. An awkward family gathering? I'd take my sweet time getting ready. If I was late enough, maybe people would just assume I was too busy instead of realizing the truth. I was avoiding something. But here's the problem. When you're constantly late, people stop giving you the benefit of the doubt. They stop trusting you. They stop relying on you. And before you know it, you're the last person anyone calls when something important is happening. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The same applies here. If you want to be seen as someone who is reliable and respected, stop making excuses. Show up. Be present. Because every time you're late, you're not just messing up your schedule. You're telling the world you're okay with being an afterthought. So, how do you fix it? Start small. Set your clock ahead if you have to. Plan your outfit the night before. Leave 5 minutes earlier than you think you need to. And most importantly, be honest with yourself. Are you late because of bad planning, or are you avoiding something? It wasn't easy for me to break the habit, but once I did, everything changed. People started trusting me more. I felt better about myself. I wasn't the one everyone expected to be late anymore. I was someone they could count on. And that's the thing. Being on time isn't just about impressing others. It's about making sure you don't miss the moments that actually matter. Because life moves fast. And if you're always late, you might wake up one day and realize you've been running behind on more than just the clock. 7. Stop acting powerless. Own your life. You ever meet someone who always seems to have the worst luck? Nothing ever goes their way, and somehow it's never their fault. A failed relationship? They were betrayed. A missed promotion? Their boss is out to get them. A bad day? The whole universe must be conspiring against them. They walk around like life is just one big tragedy with them as the helpless main character. And if you're sitting there thinking, wait, that's not me, take a second. Because playing the victim is one of those habits that creeps up on you before you even realize it. I know because I used to do it too. I used to believe that if something went wrong, it had to be because of bad luck, bad people, or bad timing. If I missed an opportunity, it was because someone else had it out for me. If my personal life was falling apart, I figured I was just doomed in that area. And I didn't see the problem until a close friend hit me with a brutal truth. You always see yourself as the victim, but have you ever thought about how much you're contributing to your own situations? That stung, but it also woke me up. Because the truth is, constantly seeing yourself as the victim isn't just exhausting for the people around you. It's exhausting for you too. It keeps you stuck. It makes you believe that you have no control over your life, that everything is just happening to you, instead of realizing that you have power over your own choices. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the real problem with a victim mindset. It strips you of your power. It's easier to say, "It's not my fault," than to ask, "What could I have done differently?" But let's be honest, easier doesn't mean better. I had to face that truth myself. I spent years blaming others for why my career wasn't going anywhere. But once I actually took a step back, I saw the real issue. I wasn't taking action. I wasn't improving myself. I wasn't stepping up. And once I did, things changed. Instead of feeling like life was happening to me, I started making things happen for me. It was a complete shift in mindset. And trust me, it's one of the most freeing things you'll ever experience. If you're stuck in a cycle of blaming others, here's something to think about. Playing the victim is like running on a hamster wheel. You put in effort, you get tired, you go in circles, but you never actually move forward. The only way to get off is to stop focusing on what's out of your control and start focusing on what is. So the next time you catch yourself asking, "Why is this happening to me?" flip it. Ask instead, "What can I do about this?" Because there's always something you can do. Even if it's just changing your mindset, that alone is enough to turn things around. And let's be real, no one respects someone who constantly plays the victim. People admire those who take charge, those who own their mistakes, those who rise after falling. You want respect? You want real confidence? Then stop waiting for life to magically get better and make it better. The choice is yours. Stay stuck in a loop of blame, or take control and start living on your own terms. Your life won't change until you do. So step up, take charge, and show the world and yourself what you're really made of.